Well, I hear a lot of talk about who are good role models for people to grow up and emulate. And especially, you hear a lot of talk about if you have a daughter you want her to grow up and be like, and then they'll mention some famous person. Sometimes our role models are rock stars, celebrities, and that's a little scary. But sometimes they're accomplished jurists or politicians or business people. That's fine. But I want to tell you, two women, that if you have a daughter or granddaughter, you really want your two daughters to be like Shiphrah and Puah. Now, I'm tempted just to stop right here and sign off of this is Steve Ridgel to tell you to go find out who these women are, but that's a little unfair because, tell you the truth, I forget sometimes till I happen to read about them again. In the first chapter of Exodus, Joseph, who was such a hero and was the prime minister of Egypt and brought his family into Egypt and saved them, and he dies and generations go by, and a Pharaoh comes along who doesn't remember Joseph, which is a pretty good lesson if you think you're famous. It doesn't last. And the Pharaoh looks at it and all he sees are a bunch of Israelites, and he's frightened they're going to turn against them, revolt, and cause problems. So he tells the two Hebrew midwives, Shiphrah and Puah. He tells them, you look on the birth, and if it's a boy, you kill the boys, but let the girls live, thinking that would slow down what's happening with all the Israelites. But these women feared God, and they wouldn't do it. They spared the boys too. And when they were asked about it, well, they lied. They said, we get there, but the Hebrew women are so vigorous, they've already given birth, and they don't need us that way. And God was kind to those two women and blessed the people. And they continue to have healthy babies to multiply, and Shiphrah and Puah got their own children because God was good to them. Now, you're wondering why that makes them heroes for our girls to emulate, and I'm going to tell you why. Number one, above all, they wanted to do what God wanted. They had the values of God. God values life. And so they refused to kill the baby boys being born. And the other thing I think is important, they were courageous. It took a lot of courage to defy the Egyptian government. But they knew where their true allegiance was, and it was to God. And so I love the idea that you raise courageous women who have the values of God. And then the other great lesson from there, of course, is that God was kind to them and blessed them with children of their own. You see, when you hold to the values of God and you live the values of God courageously, God will be good to you too. And he may even grant you the great gift that he granted to them. So I'm going to tell you, let's raise strong women like Shiphrah and Puah, but let's also all of us commit to be the kind of people who value what God values, who live those values courageously, who thank God for his kindness, and who enjoy his blessings. This is Steve Ridgel, praying that God will give us more women like Shiphrah and Puah.